If you live in a building with thin walls, you probably know your neighbors better than you want to. You hear their TVs late at night, their arguments, their creaky floorboards, even the flush of their toilets. But what if no one lived upstairs? What if the sounds you've been hearing weren't footsteps, but something older? What if the whole time you were being studied from above? This is the story of what happened when I followed the sounds I shouldn't have, and what followed me back. I was coming out of a long, ugly breakup when I moved into apartment 3B at the Haddock Street Apartments. I'd lost our shared place, my dog stayed with her, and I was sleeping on friends' couches until I found somewhere cheap and quiet. Haddock was both. The building had history, bricks stained dark with city soot, vines clinging to the walls like veins. 5 floors, but the elevator only showed 3. It was the kind of place that felt forgotten, like it had slipped through time and memory. The landlord was a soft-spoken Indian man named Mr. Varma. He never smiled with his mouth, only his eyes, and even those seemed tired. He gave me the tour, though there wasn't much to see. Hallways smelled of damp paper. Lights flickered in odd rhythms. My unit 3B had warped floorboards, a yellow-stained ceiling, and a radiator that clanked like someone trying to escape through the pipes. No pets, no guests after midnight. No questions about the 4th floor, Mr. Varma said. The 4th floor? I asked. He didn't explain. There is no 4th floor, he repeated. Even if you think there is. Even if you see it. There isn't. Do not go up. I thought it was superstition. Maybe something to do with insurance or squatting. But when I later looked at the elevator panel, I saw it. A small faded 4 button. I pressed it. It clicked, but nothing happened. The doors closed and reopened on the same floor. Shrugging, I moved in. The first week was quiet. I worked from home, graphic design and editing gigs, and tried to piece myself back together. Sleep was spotty. The air felt thicker at night, heavier, like something was coiled above me. And then the footsteps started. They began faintly. A shuffle here, a dull thud there. At first I chalked it up to a neighbor with insomnia, but they came every night, always after 3 a.m., never before. And the footsteps? They didn't move like someone walking. They paced, back and forth, stop, then drag, like someone trying to remember how to move, or refusing to. I asked my neighbor Carla from 3C. She was a nurse, always in scrubs, eyes tired and full of unspoken stories. Oh, she said, fidgeting with her keys. You heard it too? Yeah, someone's up there, right? Above me? She paused. No one lives above you, but there's a floor above. No, she cut me off gently. Not one you want to think about. What do you mean? She looked over her shoulder toward the stairwell. Just don't go looking, seriously. The next night I stayed up. 3 a.m. came and went. At 3:17 a.m. the footsteps started. I froze, my bedside lamp flickered once, then went out. Then I heard something new. Breathing. Slow. Guttural. Like someone exhaling into a microphone right above my bed. And then taps. Like fingers drumming the ceiling. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. By the weekend I was obsessed. I took the stairs past the 3rd floor. They ended at a flimsy wood barrier. Nothing more than a nailed-up plywood panel with a paper sign. But behind the panel was a chain, and it wasn't locked. I unhooked it, heart thudding. The air grew colder with each step up. The hallway on the 4th floor was narrow, dark, and smelled like damp rot. The wallpaper peeled in long, curling strips like shed skin. Water stains snaked across the ceiling like veins. 2 doors, 4A and 4B. 4A was sealed tight with a thick padlock. Foot creaked open with a push. Inside, nothing. Just an empty room. Dust coated everything. Wallpaper bubbled and sagged. In one corner, the floorboards were warped inward, like something heavy had once stood there. But what chilled me most was the footprint. A single bare, wet footprint in the dust, facing me. I ran. I didn't stop until I was back in my apartment, heart racing, lungs on fire. I didn't sleep that night either. I bought a cheap Wi-Fi security camera and mounted it in my living room, angled at the ceiling. The idea was simple: prove there was a squatter upstairs. 3 nights, nothing. On the 4th, the feed glitched. It was subtle, At 3:17 a.m. exactly, the screen flickered, distorted into static for a half second. When I replayed it in slow motion, I saw it. A dip in the ceiling, as if something heavy pressed down from above, just enough to jiggle the light fixture. The camera never captured a full image, only flickers, blurs, shapes that didn't make sense. But every glitch came at the same time, 3:17 a.m., so I stayed up again. Lights off, camera feed open, 3:16. The air changed, grew wet. The smell of mold and metal filled the room. Then the breathing began, just like before, but louder. My camera feed glitched, and for a single frame I saw it. A face, pressed against the ceiling, mouth open in a scream, eyes milky white, skin pulled thin like stretched rubber. Then it was gone. I confronted Mr. Varma the next morning, told him what I'd seen. He said nothing at first, just stared at the ground. Finally, he spoke. There was once a man, Alan Marin, lived in 4B, quiet, alone. We didn't see much of him. His voice grew quieter. He stopped coming out, complained about things that weren't there, said the building had a soul and it was feeding on him, said it was learning how to become him. I asked what happened. We found him curled in the corner of 4B, his skin wrong, like he'd been rewritten. Muscles stretched, eyes open, but no breath, no pulse. We tried to take him out, but the stretcher sank. Sank? Into the floor, Varma said, as if the building swallowed him. We sealed the floor that day, but it never stopped moving. Moving? He nodded. You've heard it. You know, he handed me a photograph. It was old, blurred, but it showed a man with 2 long limbs, half wrapped in a blanket, staring directly at the camera. No one ever made it out after looking too long, Varma said. Please leave, while you still can. That night I couldn't sleep. Every blink felt like a glimpse into something waiting. I got up and stared at the ceiling. It was quiet, too quiet. I snapped a photo with my phone and nearly dropped it when I looked at the image. The photo showed a face through the ceiling, as if under the paint and plaster was a man's skin, stretched across beams like wallpaper, one eye bulging, lips moving. I zoomed in. The mouth was forming a word. Down. My nose began to bleed. I tried to leave the building, but the front door was different. Instead of the chipped red frame and rusted knob, it was a tall mirror. No reflection, just static behind the glass, like a paused VHS tape. I turned to run up the stairs and found myself back on the 4th floor. But this time 4B was open, and someone stood in the doorway. A man, or the suggestion of one, limbs too long, hands dragging behind him, face a smooth expanse of wet clay. And then he moved toward me. I fled, back down, back to 3B. But when I got inside, my own apartment looked wrong. Furniture shifted. Ceiling too low. The air breathing. 3:17 a.m. I watched as cracks spread across my ceiling. The walls bled. A long, spindly finger pushed through the plaster. Then a hand. Then a face, his face stretched and cracking. I ran. I ran until I couldn't breathe. Until the city lights blurred around me. Until I felt normal gravity again. I never went back. I live 3 cities away now. No upstairs neighbors. No cameras. But last week I received a package. No return address. Inside was a single photograph. It was me, asleep in bed, taken from the ceiling. And on the back, written in a brown, rust-colored ink, "You let me in. You may live alone. You may believe you know your house, your building, your room. But if you ever hear breathing in the walls at 3:17 a.m., ask yourself, is someone up there? Or did you already let them in?"